Welcome to this phase of the training. So in this particular phase, we're talking about the fundamentals of graphic design. Well, I'll be making use of this ebook. This is actually one of the class I took when I was starting as a graphic designer. So I just found the ebook. So the first thing is you look at what is graphic design. So what is graphic design? We're all here to learn what graphic design is. So what is graphic design? So in my own way, how I define graphic design is actually the visual way of communication. You're communicating a thing, but what graphic design does is that it's actually helping you to communicate something. So it's the process of is a visual communication and problem solving through the use of typography, which is text, photography, which is your image, and illustrations, which is your line, your symbols, and every other things. So design actually uses combined image. What designers do, just you as a designer, you can see from what we have in here, it is the combination of text, combination of image. There's an image there, there's a shape from that logo to actually communicate something. All right, so that's what designers do. You can also define graphic design as a systematic plan to solve a problem, to achieve or to achieve a certain objective with the use of image, symbols, and words. Because the main reason why of graphic design, every graphic design is actually trying to solve a problem. Every design is actually trying to solve a problem. Every brand is actually trying to solve a problem. That's why they need a graphic designer. You're actually trying to become a graphic designer because you actually see a problem and you're trying to solve a problem. So now let's move to, we talked about graphic design. So who is a designer? His primary job is to create visual concept that communicate solution and ideas that inspires. That is who a graphic designer is. So alright, so now the elements of design. We have line, shape, texture, form, color, typography. Now we have the shape. Now we have different types of shape. We have geometric shape or regular shape, which is also known as regular shape, which is our normal regular shape we know. We have rectangle, triangle, those the pentagon, the hexagon, those are actually geometric and regular shape. We have organic shape. These are the free shape. They appear in different forms. Alright, so those are actually, you can see from the screen. We have organic shape. Just you can see they are just like, they're actually free. They don't have any particular pattern. They are something you just draw with your hand. So the next we're having is typography. Typography, the act of arranging types. We've talked about typography in one of our videos. So I've even forgotten the definition of typography. It's actually the act of arranging types. Actually, arrangement of visual of text. Let's see if I still have that article here. All right, I'm sorry about this. So typography is the style or appearance of text. So that's practically what typography happens to be. The act of working with text. Something we do it every time, every day of our life. Whether you're writing, you're actually working with text. So that's typography. So we have different types of typography. We have serif. Those are fonts. Sorry, we have types to help you do with fonts. You're working with font, and each font we have serif, sans serif, and display font. Go and check in one of our videos. We talked about it. So lines is actually very, very important in our designs. What line does that? Line helps us to connect two or more points together. It helps us to connect two or more points together. It also helps us to add emphasis to our points. So let me just go straight to the application, pixellab. Then all right, let me just create a new project. So for example, should we delete this? Yeah, let me just add in a new text. All right, so there are different tools you can actually create line in pixellab. So this is, let me bring in a shape. So I can actually create line by doing this. You can see how I just close the shape there. I can just increase it. So this is actually giving me a line now. This is a line. This is a line for me. So another way I can create line, I can use the bezel tool. Let me click on this side here. Draw this thing to this part. But make sure it touches that other edge when it passes it. And make sure it is straight. Let it be straight. Then you come here. You put this one too to this side. Make sure it is straight. Then you just click on it. So you can see it's actually, boys, I didn't do it very well. But these are actually ways of you can actually create lines in this application. So what lines done? For example now, we'll take this thing and we'll add it here in your design. And probably we are having different kind of text. Now, I think it actually would be good if I add. Okay, let me just bring in this one. So it has actually created an emphasis. It has helped hierarchy. So when you look at this thing, your eyes is actually going to first going to go to, let's see what white will do. Still make it looks different, but black would have, well, because it's actually different color. So your eye, it actually puts that this new text is actually, the text here is very, very important. That's what it's making you to adding emphasis to this design. For example, I can also use this line to divide something. All right. Oh, okay. So I can actually use it to divide something. Even though in secondary school we taught division, most times when we use division, it comes with something like this. So that's, you have to use it, and also you can use it to guide your eyes. For example, maybe I'm pointing to this thing. You can use it to guide the eyes of the viewers. Probably we'll do that thing when you see an infographics. Okay, let me just pause. Right now, from this place, we're actually seeing that this is kind of circle, but those are lines. Anyway, in short, your texts are even made of lines. When we just look at our text, okay, I have to zoom in this guy. You can see from this place here, this I is a text, but just that the texts are kind of curvy. So our texts are a combination of line and with giving the different forms. So everything about our designs, going to the image you are using, your image probably in short, everything is actually made up of lines. But color is not actually made up of lines anyway. But your images are practically making images of a line. Let me just bring in the picture of someone from probably let me just bring in this lady here. You can see from her body, the sides here, this side here. This is a line. This is a line now. This is a line. This is a line. This is a line. This is a line. So more or less, so it's actually in all of our designs. So it actually helps you in guiding the eyes of people. That's practically what line is about. It helps in guiding people's eyes. So you can see from our text here, just telling us social feeding, video promotion, sponsor posts, social posting for all platform, like campaign, live tweeting. Right, so that is more or less, that is how you can actually use lines in your design. And lines can be in different form. Let's just hide this. Let's hide this. Let me bring this in. So this is actually like this because from the main selection, which is this one here, I made it like that. So line can be fat. The one that was here before is thin. So let me use my draw tool. Line can be curvy, can be wavy, can be curvy, can be jagged. So we've seen some lines like this. So this is actually a kind of line now in our designs. Alright, so that is all that for line. So let's just move straight to, oh thank God, we've seen it here. So we have dotted line, we have one that we have different types of line here. We have wavy, we have these ones that kind of like like they're having a feel of texture on it. So this is particular line. So this is now texture. The next one we're talking about is texture. Texture refers to how it gives a feel, how things look like. This particular feel where to touch, for example, texture can be rough. It gives your design a particular feel. That's what texture does. It gives your design a particular feel. All right, so let me just go. Let's go. So texture is a quality, is a physical quality of a surface. It adds depth and tactility to flat image. For example, you can add, for example, when we look at this design here, you can see there's actually a texture added to it. Let's just go straight to this application. Let's just cancel this. All right, so let me just delete all this one. Let me bring in a shape. Let's just make use of this one. So let me just come to the texture icon. You can add it to an image. You can also add it to a shape. So I'll just pick in anything. I can use any. Okay, I think I have some. Okay, let me make use of this one. So I'm now going to just select. Let's just select this part. So you can see now this is my texture. I can enable it. It's actually giving me something better. So this is a texture. This is how you actually add texture to your designs in pixellab. All right, so texture is actually, so that's what texture. You can also add it to text. You can just come here, bring in this new text. Let me make it, okay, I'll just come here, since it's on text, come here to texture, go back to the design, just pick, let me just make use of this one. So you can see let me just add it. You can actually see from inside. I'm actually making use of this picture as my texture. All right, so now let's say that's how you make use of texture in our designs. So it is another element used to draw attention. It can be added to other elements like shapes, color. No, I don't agree with that. Just your font and your color. So color is one element that is especially important in design. We've talked about color. We talked about it in one of our videos. So it's important in attracting attention because it actually evokes a feeling. Color evokes feeling. It gives your design a particular type of feeling. There are three main characteristics of color. When we talk about color, we have hue, we have saturation, we have brightness, we have contrast. So another name for color. Let's just come to this place here. So let me just come here and delete this one. So this is okay. Let me just come here for okay. Let's just use this one then. Let me come to color filter, then color filter for text. Okay, let's see. There should be color filter for, yeah, it's color filter. But I have to delete this one. Let me delete the texture. So I'll just come to color filter. So this is another name for color. But actually not seeing it there because it's naturally is on white. So let me just bring in something from a gallery. Let me bring in probably this lady here. Okay. So I thought this was actually something with background. So you can see as another name for color. Saturation, let's just make sure it's too much saturation. It gives you adds much to, I talked about it in the color section, add to the color. So but one way I actually using recognizing saturation, when saturation is high, it means it gives you the best of that color, the best of the color. But when it's low, it means the colors have actually washed out. So it's your closest to gray. You can see it is now gray. Or if I want to use this again now, just add this. I think I'm okay with this too. I'm okay with 12. I'm okay with 12. Now this is brightness. And this is contrast. Well, I'm okay with the saturation. Let's see. Okay, I think yes, I'm okay with it like this. Yeah, I'm okay, very okay with it like this. So it's actually giving me a good of the lady's picture. So that's one thing about color. So this is form. It's three-dimensional in nature. Development of two different dimensional shape. The addition of third dimension is an illustration which we are working on. The illustration is form created when we add shading. So the illustration is from a three-dimensional development of a two-dimensional element. In most graphic design, the addition of three-dimensional is an illustration because we are still working on a two-dimensional art. The illustration of form is created when we add shading or visual aspects to a shape or indicate depth. For example, okay, let's just make use of this. Let's make use of a shape. So let me just give it a form. When you make something 3D, probably your text, or I've made this text 3D now. We're not actually seeing because of, let's just the rotation. So now adding X rotation is not giving us that this, now that I'm added a different form to this. When I add color to it, we'll give it a different form. Right, so by this as giving it a different form. Another way I can actually add form to my design is by when I add shadow. So let me just, can see the shadow from the base. It has given it a different form, even though if the 3D seems to be off, but the shadow itself, the position, the 3D seems to be off. Let me just still come to this shadow. Alright, so when I come here, I place it down. It's as if that it has made this design feel like this one. It has even just given it a different feel that is different from something flat, like something that is on top of something. So that's the feel shadow is actually giving now. Shadow is giving me a different feel for my design.
Next video, so design. So the next one, just a brief summary, a brief introduction into the principles of design. So the link will be in the description below. Please don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.